Okay, we're going to talk about 2.4. This is the last section before we take a quiz. And just to remind you with quizzes, CK12, if you get all of CK12 done for 2.1 through 2.4, you get 10% extra on the quiz. I do give partial credit, but in order to get partial credit, you have to do all the CK12s in one section. So I noticed, I think before the test, the last chapter, I had some people, if there were 3 sections, they did 2 of the 3. You get 0 for that section. You have to do all of them for that section to get credit for that section. So since there's 4 sections in this quiz, you have each section is worth 25%. And if you have 3 in section 2.1 as an example, you have to do all 3 to get 25% of the extra credit. Does that make sense? Okay. Quiz tomorrow over 2.1 through 2.4. Today's lesson is kind of going the opposite direction of what we've been doing. We've been taking lines and finding equations of lines. Either we're given a graph of a line, we're given a slope, we're given y-intercept, we're given 2 points, all of those. And we've been working on finding the slope-intercept form of the line, the equation of the line, and also the standard equation, standard form. Yes?
I won't be here.
Okay. So today we're going to go the other way and say if we're given the equation of a line, either in slope-intercept or standard, what's the best way to graph it? Okay, so let's just start as an example. If I gave you the equation y equals 3x plus 2, what form is this in, first of all? Slope-intercept. So what does that tell me the slope is?
3.
And the intercept? And when I say intercept, is it the x or the y? Y. So this is where the line will cross the y-axis. So when it's in slope-intercept form, the easiest way to graph it is to start with the y-intercept. What's the coordinate of the y-intercept? 0, 2. Because all along the y-axis, x is equal to 0. Okay, 0, 2. And I'm going to use that point and the slope. And remember, the slope can be written as a fraction, and should be when you're trying to figure out slope. Sometimes early on, maybe in Algebra 1, you see 3, and you think it just goes up 3 and stops. You've got to remember it goes right 1. Okay, so from this point, I'm going to go up 3 and right 1. How many points do I need to draw a line? 2. It's sometimes helpful to have more than 2, but you only need 2. So once you've got the intercept identified and you've got a next point with the slope, all you've got to do is connect them, and you have your line. Okay, I've drawn the equation of the line y equals 3x plus 2. It makes sense because it's going up from left to right, and the slope is positive. If the slope's negative, it's got to go down from left to right. Okay, now let's look at equations in standard form. If you are the kind of person that sees an equation in standard form and you need to graph it, and the first thing you want to do is put it into slope-intercept form, because slope-intercept form is pretty easy to graph, that's fine. But just realize there's a faster way. And when you get into the ACT, we're always looking for faster ways to do things. Okay, so one way to graph this is indeed to put it into slope-intercept form. Not the fastest way to graph it, because you're going to have to do some algebra to get it done. The fastest way to graph it when it's in standard form is to find your x and y-intercepts. And just covering up x, when x is 0, that's my y-intercept. Solve for y. Y is 3. When y is 0, I cover the y term up, and I solve for x. X is 2. And then all I've got to do is graph those intercepts. Y is 3, x is 2, and I've just graphed it. Don't take the time to turn it into slope-intercept form. Use the intercept method or the cover-up method when it's in standard form. That's the easiest way and fastest way to graph. Okay, who can tell me the slope of this without looking at the graph, just looking at this? What's the fastest way to find the slope when it's in standard form? Who remembers the formula? No? I gave you a formula when we learned standard form on how to find the slope. I said it's if you memorize it, it'll be, no, that's the formula just to find slope. There's a triangle method. That's if you're given 2 points. If you're given an equation in standard form, there's a really fast way to find the slope. Negative a over b. What's a? 3. What's b? 2. Negative a over b, negative 3 halves. There's your slope. You don't have to put it in slope-intercept form and find m. Just negative a over b is your slope. Okay, and does it make sense? Well, negative 3/2, I said. 1, 2, 3 down, 2 right. Slope's negative 3/2. Okay, memorize that if you want to. If you don't, the way you're going to find the slope, if you don't have it graphed, is to convert it to slope-intercept form and find m, which takes a lot longer than just remembering negative a over b. Either way, you'll get the same answer. But if you can remember the form, negative a over b for slope in standard form, that will help you. Okay, let's look at the textbook check then. I don't remember where I put it. First question then. When graphing the line y equals 2x minus 7, what point do you start at?
Negative 7.
The actual coordinate, though, is 0, negative 7. That's your y-intercept. And then you'll go up how many units? 2 units up and 1 unit to the right. And graph your second point. Good. Question 2. The slope of the line x equals 5 is equal to 0. True or false? False. X equals 5 is a vertical line. The slope of all vertical lines is what? Undefined. Okay? The fastest way to graph this line is either to convert it to slope-intercept form or find the intercepts. Which one? Find the intercepts. Question 4, the presenter in both videos was Mr. Witt. And then the x-intercept in the equation 3x plus 2y equals 6 is what point? The x-intercept. What is the value of x everywhere along the x-axis?
2 is the point.
Well, it's not just 2. 2, 0. The value on the x-axis of y is always 0. So all you have to do to find the x-intercept is plug 0 in for y and solve for x. X is 2. So it's the point 2 comma 0. Okay, so that's all this section is being able to graph a line given an equation in slope, intercept, or standard form. Shouldn't be too hard. Again, this is all Algebra 1 review still. So it's hopefully nothing new. Don't forget quizzes tomorrow, 2-1 through 2-4. Get your CK12 done if you want extra credit tomorrow. So it's all due tomorrow. All right.